This course is for mobile device users. If you use a smartphone and are familiar with your device but have no device security experience, you should have no problem following along. Depending on your device, there are sections of this course that may not apply to you. For example, iOS users won't need to concern themselves with the Android chapter or vice versa. In this course, I show general recommendations for end users on personally owned devices. If your device is enrolled in a mobility program through a business or organization, it would be wise to review the terms of use for that program. While my process may align with or exceed that of your organization's program should take precedence over the recommendations I give here. With mobile technology, we can instantaneously communicate with anyone, anywhere in the world, record and share our creations, or even look deep into the workings of our own bodies to see our biological past and future. Technology enables us to do things that were science fiction just 10 years ago. My day-to-day activities are supported by at least 2 computers working in tandem at all times. My watch and smartphone are instantly and constantly connected to the internet. They keep me in the know so that I can manage my schedule and stay on top of my day. These computers connect me to my friends, my family, and coworkers all over the world. Computers in my car make it possible for the car to park itself, track and direct me to a destination, and even connect to my favorite music. Computers are everywhere and in everything. Soon, our lives will have computers embedded in every part of them, with the promise of freeing up time, creating new opportunities, or giving new choices. Integrating technology into our entire natural environment is called ubiquitous computing. Ubiquitous computing is often discussed in tandem with the popular ideas of the Internet of Things or the Internet of Everything. These technologies loftily promise to make some of the most expensive and burdensome parts of our lives a personal expression of who we are as individuals in a globally connected society. However, by integrating technology into new parts of our lives, we create tremendous risk. The risks come from this fundamental truth: all computers are hackable. Security, then, is a necessary precaution to our shared technological future. As technology gets more complex, the likelihood that a vulnerability exists in the hardware or software increases. More sensors, transmitters, and features offer new avenues for malicious parties to enter your device. Unfortunately, software and hardware engineers cannot foresee every possibility. Hackers find holes in software and exploit them. It is more true today than in the past, since computing power and complexity have increased at an exponential rate. The world of computers is, by its nature, hidden and insecure. In order to securely take advantage of the convenience and power of computing, every user and organization must undertake strategic security actions to guard against the unknown. With all the risk, why would anyone use these technologies? In a word, popularity. The global community has made their position clear: mobile technology is here to stay. In 2010, the global mobile workforce was 900 million strong. In just 5 years, that number increased to a staggering 1.4 billion. In this chart, we see the dramatic increase of mobile adoption relative to the entire world population. This means that 20% of the global population is accomplishing their work, at least in part, with a mobile device. On these billions of devices, we are banking, chatting, sharing photos with our family and friends, connecting with new and old loves, conducting all sorts of business, and tracking our health. This presents unparalleled access to your information and assets. There are 2 risk categories associated with the use of mobile devices: software and hardware. Although they work together, both categories express different vulnerabilities. Software attacks occur when something from the outside of my device finds its way into my device, where it can accomplish goals I never intended. Some of the more innocent ways this occurs is by selecting links in email and text messages, downloading malicious software, and connecting to open networks. Basically, all the things I do every day with my smartphone. Once I select that link or open that email attachment, an intruder can accomplish any number of things. The intruder can record my keystrokes in order to get my username and password the next time I log into my bank account. The intruder can see who my connections are and use me as a channel to get access to them. As we have seen recently in the case of celebrities, an intruder can get access to your personal photos and use them without your permission. What can be accomplished by a creative intruder is limited only by their imagination. You wouldn't leave your home unlocked with the front door and windows open. Yet today, leaving your mobile device insecure may even be more threatening. The unsung hero of the mobile revolution has been the advancement of mobile hardware. New sensors, cameras, and antennas have become cheap and allowed mobile devices to become affordable for everyone. The flooding of the markets with this new kind of hardware has meant that manufacturers working to keep up with demand are not able to consider security risks associated with their products. Hardware risks occur in tandem with software risks. Hardware has less inherent risk than software. Most risk comes from how the hardware accesses your operating system or physical environment. Once an intruder has access to your mobile device, they can use the hardware to see what you see, hear what you hear, and track your physical activity. A hacker who can use an unsecured camera can gather an impressive amount of information about you and your environment, exposing you and your company to profound secondary malicious actions. Security begins with how you acquire your mobile device. Perhaps your mobile device has been given to you by your company and you didn't play a role in choosing the source. But with the Bring Your Own Device movement, or BYOD, even devices used for work purposes often begin as personal selections. As with any strong market, the mobile device market has traditional sales channels as well as non-traditional sales channels. Traditional sales channels usually include licensed retailers like Apple, Walmart, Best Buy, and Costco, or service carriers like T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon. Non-traditional sales channels include secondary market retail establishments as well as online venues like eBay and Craigslist. There are also secondary online markets for used device acquisition like Swappa.com and Zwi.com. Or perhaps a friend or family member has upgraded to a new device and you plan to use the old one. Traditional retailers offer a trusted and supported channel from manufacturer to retailer. The relationships between the parties have been established by contracts and provides the buyer with a connection to the clean distribution of their device. With these channels, the buyer has the protection of legal recourse if a device is found to be faulty or fraudulent. Non-traditional markets are not contractually connected to the licensed selling of the mobile devices. Detached from the chain of trust and responsibility, these resellers can be stocking devices already compromised, previously owned, or more often, older and not yet equipped with the latest protections. Apple has made it easy to find local licensed resellers. Other than their own retail stores, a complete listing of Apple authorized resellers can be found under the Sales section at the website locate.apple.com. This effort is more complicated with Android phones. Android is an open operating system, and as such, Android phones are manufactured by several companies such as Samsung, Sony, HTC, and LG. Each of those manufacturers will have their own distribution channel. If you are interested in securely acquiring an Android device, it is wise to acquire the device at a major retail establishment near you. Whether you are an organization or an individual, it is best to acquire devices directly from the manufacturer or a licensed reseller. A clean acquisition channel is paramount to a secure device. When buying off-market devices, it is more likely that the devices have been tampered with, adjusted, or may even contain unwelcome data. To arrive at the best possible security outcome, make sure devices come from a legitimate source. To support the secure life of mobile devices, you must dispose of them in a secure manner. The most secure way to dispose of your mobile device is to destroy it. Today, 25 states have electronics recycling laws. Similar legislation has been enacted by governments worldwide. When destroying a device, the goal is to destroy any residual data on the phone. By destroying the device's working memory, what was once a phone simply becomes material for recycling. If you want to make some money from your device, most direct sellers will give you credit for old devices, even if the device shows evidence that liquid damage has occurred. In the past, Apple would refuse trade-ins with positive liquid indicator evidence. Now, Apple will accept devices even if the liquid indicators are tripped, but will refuse devices with visible liquid damage. Although not the most secure, trading back into the retail channel is a good way to get back some of the value you spent on the device. An even less secure option is the thriving secondary market. You can resell your device using services like Gazelle, Glide, BuyMyTronics, eBay, and Craigslist. There are, however, risks associated with selling your device back into a market. Although these services play a valuable role, they are services only and do not control the actions of the buyers or sellers. If your information is not removed from the device, you could be exposing yourself to attack. Or, if the buyer is not trustworthy, you could fall victim to fraud or theft. If you decide to trade in or resell, make sure you wipe your phone, check any SD memory or SIM card data stored on the device. No matter how you choose to dispose of a device, it is important to remember that clearing data before passing it on to another party is essential in maintaining personal security. Security on my mobile device begins with basic device access. Most devices will allow use without setting up security. However, it is now common practice for device manufacturers to nudge me toward the use of secure access when I'm initially setting up a device. For Android devices, access can be either through a swipe, pattern, PIN, password, or fingerprint. On an Apple device, I can set access security using a 4-digit numeric code, custom numeric code, custom alphanumeric code, or Touch ID where it is available. Without security measures, my device will be accessible immediately after I turn it on or wake it from sleep. Although this is certainly easy, it means my phone and what I do on it are all available to anyone holding it. This is akin to leaving home with your door unlocked. Leaving your phone with no security is not a good idea. Pattern security makes it just a bit more secure than no security. It's easy to witness and duplicate, and it has too limited a set of options. There are better options than using a pattern for Android device security. The most common security option is the PIN. Research has shown 10% of all 4-digit PINs are 1, 2, 3, 4. If we include 1111 and 0000, that number jumps to a staggering 20%. People often fail to set complex PIN numbers, and computers are really good at discovering sequences of numbers. Therefore, PIN, 4-digit numeric, and custom numeric options are not recommended for secure access. The best option by far is the passcode. Passcodes have the advantage of allowing a wider variety of characters. Passcodes can contain different kinds of characters, including lowercase, uppercase, numbers, special characters, and spaces. With such a large set of options, passcodes are the most secure. It is common to think that creative, complex passcodes are safe. Frequently, special characters are used to try to make common words into complex passcodes. For example, the word password could be made more complex with symbols, capital letters, and numbers. However, this is not much more difficult for a computer to decipher. The most secure and easiest to remember passwords are a string of words with numbers, symbols, and capital letters. So for this course, I'm going to use the string 2 little ideas! That is difficult for both humans and computers to hack. More than patterns, pins, or passcodes, your unique biology can now be used to verify your identity. And first on the scene is the biomarker we have used for some time now, fingerprints. Fingerprints are unique and provide a level of secure access computers can't hack. However, neither platform allows for fingerprint access alone. I must set up my devices with both a complex passcode and a fingerprint ID. Unlike other options, fingerprint access is not something they can reproduce just by watching you do it. However, not all device models offer fingerprint functionality. Initial fingerprint security measures were broken by research groups just to show that it can be defeated with the right tools. Manufacturers have added additional security measures, like requiring a password after so many attempts or a reboot. If you want to keep the average person out of your phone, fingerprint security should work just fine. If absolute security is your bottom line, a complex passcode is the best option. In order to offer the fingerprint option, the phone must store your fingerprint. Once fingerprint recognition is set up, you can use it as a secure way to unlock the device, make purchases, and sign into your accounts. After setting up the proper secure access for my device, it is important that I also set up a second validation for the account I will use with it. In both Android and iOS, this means setting up two-factor authentication. Each store requires me to set up an account to download free and purchased applications. It is important to note these accounts are intended to identify the account holder as the owner of all the games, books, music, movies, and applications purchased through the new digital delivery system. Therefore, it is important to consider how you are setting up the account. Also called two-step verification, this requires me to sign in with two pieces of information anytime I try to log onto a new device: my account password and a unique code sent to me by Google or Apple. Both Google and Apple have clear documentation on the setup and use of two-factor authentication. With two-factor authentication set up, I will also receive an access code to a trusted device when I want to change or make purchases to my Google Play or Apple App Store account. In order to set up the best security for my devices and services, I always set up two-factor authentication for both my Apple ID and my Google Play account. Security is not just about preventing malicious access to my data. It is also about building processes for data continuity. Data continuity is set up through backing up my device. In both platforms, there are two ways to back up my Android or iOS device, either over the air to Google or Apple servers, or on my own computer. Choosing to back up the device myself means I will need to physically connect my device to one computer for backup and the same computer for restore. This choice also means my device will not be backing up as I use it. If something should occur that would require me to restore my backup, I will only be able to get the information present at the time of the last backup. More often than not, this means I will lose critical data. Choosing to back up over the air means that after the initial backup is completed, a regular, unattended backup will occur, keeping my backup data as close to the current as possible without burdening me. These regularly scheduled backups usually happen as you sleep during the hours of low use. A consistent over-the-air backup will protect me and my data from loss, provide me with a consistent experience, and ensure continuity throughout the life of the mobile device. There are also third-party options. Dropbox, CrashPlan, and Seagate provide an alternative to backing up your data with the device manufacturer. It is important to note that backup services are storing your data in their space. Therefore, your data is only as secure as the service provider's infrastructure. It is wise to review how each provider secures data before relying on one or the other. Wherever you store your data, make sure that the service is using strong security measures to protect their servers and, in turn, your user data. Mobile devices are built to be constantly connected. Whether the device connects through Wi-Fi or cellular service, it will often be broadcasting location data. Device manufacturers use this connectivity to build free tools, allowing device owners to locate and secure their devices. In general, location services function as an individual's device management platform. With location services enabled on my device, I get access to a set of remote management options. This functionality comes on all iOS and Android devices. Apple's service is called Find My Phone and is managed as part of iCloud. The Android service is called Find My Mobile and is managed as a web application called Android Device Manager. The simplest option allows me to locate a device. Both services will give me GPS coordinates of the phone. I can even have the device make a noise. This is great when your phone gets lost in the couch and you can't find it. If I can't immediately locate a device, I also have the option to send notifications and lock down the device. If you leave your device behind at a restaurant or store, this tool can really save your skin. So long as the device is online, you can set a lock screen message with instructions to return the device. If I can't recover a device, my last line of defense is to remotely wipe it. Again, the device has to be online, but if it is, I can send a signal to blow away all the data. If you have a backup of your device, this can be a relatively painless option. Of course, replacing a device can be a costly lesson, but it can be even more costly if you lose your data too. If you're setting up a personal device, enabling location services is highly recommended. If I have a company-owned device, your company IT policies should determine your course of action. With these services enabled, I can easily find a lost device and lock it down. Part of the brilliance of smartphones comes from the ability to install third-party applications to extend the functionality of the device. These applications and services use the technology of the phone to accomplish tasks. When I install and launch an application, it is common for it to request access to either device hardware, like location services, or other applications, such as contacts. If I grant access, I'm allowing the application to retrieve whatever data is located in that part of my device. For example, if I allow an application access to my location services, I may be granting open access to all of my location data at all times, not just when I have the application open. Apple will allow me to restrict location access to only when the application is open, but they do not allow any more granularity management. The developer is not required to ask permission each time the application accesses a service, and they are not required to report exactly what data is being accessed. More often than not, they ask please, and users say okay. This is not a secure practice. I do not allow applications access to my hardware or software unless absolutely necessary and trusted. Don't give in. Pay attention to what developers are asking for and critically decide if this access is necessary. If a game wants access to my camera roll just to assign a profile picture, it's probably not access I'm going to give. I would like to give extra emphasis on this point in the case of social media applications. Be aware and diligent about who you are letting into your device data streams. Third-party applications that use social media to validate often ask for permission to use data stored by that site. If you sync a piece of data to social media, then allow a third-party access to that data through your social media account, you're essentially giving that same access to the third party. Be vigilant when allowing access to your data. You never know who's watching on the other end. I can set up a Google Play account either online or from my mobile device. Android happens to live on many different kinds of mobile devices. Your hardware may differ from those that you see in this presentation. Please check the documentation for your device before you begin. This is a brand new device. All I've set up is a Wi-Fi network. First, I select a Play Store icon on the home screen of my mobile device. If the Play Store is not on your home screen, swipe your finger right to left. You may find the Play Store located in the following screen. Because I've not already entered a valid Google Play account, I'll be prompted to either enter one or register a new one. If I was starting from scratch, I would select New Account, but I already have a Google account. All consumer Google accounts, be it Gmail, YouTube, or some other service, have Google Play already attached to them. To sign up for a Google account, I must provide first name, last name, and a phone number. I'd also have to select an account name, and it can be difficult to find a Google account that has not already been taken. Google account passwords need to be at least 8 characters long and include lowercase and uppercase letters, numbers, special characters, and spaces between characters. However, I cannot put a space at the beginning or the ending of the password. Google wants my phone number for recovery purposes. In order to verify the phone number, Google sends a text message with a validation number to establish a clear line of communication. This validates that the phone number is operational and owned by me. Now that we have our account set up, we'll go back over to the device. This time, when we launch Google Play, we can select Existing, and log into our account. Agree to the terms of service and select OK. After finishing the setup, it's going to give us the option of backup and restore and communication. We don't really want to set up backup and restore yet, and communications can get too much. Select the arrow, and we're all set up. If you'd like to add a credit card at this point, you can. We're going to go ahead and skip this. And here we are. The next step is to set up two-factor verification. To set up two-step verification, I'll pop over in Chrome, make sure I'm already logged in, and go to myaccount.google.com. From here, I will go to Sign In and Security. From here, I'll select Signing In to Google. I'll select two-step verification, and I'm forwarded to the two-step verification settings page. I'll select the Start Setup button and enter my phone number. I'm going to select text message to have the code sent. If I have the option of a voice call from Google, but text is good, and I'm going to select send code. I'm going to enter the code that's now been sent to my phone number for verification purposes. And I'll select verify. Because I'm doing all of this on a computer, Google asks if the computer I am using should be trusted. I would never select trusted on a public or shared computer, only private workstation and home computers. This is my system, so I'll check the trusted box and select next. Finally, Google will make sure I want two-step verification turned on. I select confirm and secure my Play Store account. Because two-step verification creates a more complex level of security measures, Google provides you with backup verification options of other phone numbers or recovery codes. It is wise to take advantage of both of these. I'll select recover code, record the value, and store it in a safe place for the future. The next time I set up a new device or make account changes, I will need to go through two-step verification. My account is the home of my Android life. With so much valuable information stored in my account, it is critical that I secure it with two-step authentication. The next step in locking down my Android device is to set up a password. It must also be between 4 and 16 characters long. So I'll set up a strong password first. From the home screen, I'll select Apps, then Settings, then Lock Screen. Then I'll select Screen Lock under the heading Screen Security. Here I see options for device access. I'll pick Password. I'll enter my robust password twice and select OK. With the password set, I'll be sure to disable Make Passwords Visible. This was enabled by default. From the home screen, I'll go to Apps, Settings, and Security. When I swipe down, Make Password Visible is revealed under the heading of Password, and now it's disabled. Finally, I'm going to set up fingerprint access. From the home screen, I will select the Apps icon. Next, let's choose Settings and Finger Scanner. Under the Finger Scanner heading, I will select Fingerprint Manager. As directed, I will swipe my thumb over the Home button 8 times to get a good read of my fingerprint. I can register other fingerprints, but one's good for now, so I'll select Done. With my fingerprint recorded, the device will ask me to pick a backup password in the case that your fingerprint is not usable. This might occur if you develop calluses, get a wound, or you're just wearing a pair of gloves. It must be at least 6 characters long and contain 1 letter and 1 number. I'll enter my chosen backup password and confirm it. Then I'll enable the fingerprint access option, confirm the backup password one more time, and I'm done. In order to make sure the access has been set, I'll restart the device and make sure the stored fingerprint is required for access. Now my fingerprint gives me easier access while deterring malicious access to my device. Even if I have set up strong access security, mobile devices present data vulnerabilities before access is even granted. The lock screens themselves present risk as they offer functionality and information before the need to authenticate. I want to make sure my lock screen is setting me up for success. First, let's answer the question of when to lock. If I go to Apps, Settings, select Lock Screen, I'll then scroll down and select Secured Lock Time. Secured lock time gives us a wide variety of options when the lock screen will automatically be engaged. I can have it engaged immediately after the phone goes to sleep, or several different increments of time between 15 seconds to 1 hour of inactivity. This begs the question, how much inactivity time should I have before the phone automatically locks? This depends on the way I use my device. It can become quite annoying if I need to constantly enter my password or fingerprint, but an unlocked phone is an insecure phone. Therefore, I recommend setting this to no more than 5 minutes of inactivity before the phone locks. I'll select 3 minutes. Now after 3 minutes of inactivity, the screen will lock and the device will go to sleep. I'll select OK. Next, I'll make sure the lock screen is not exposing any information. The first option I'll disable is called Dual Clock. This shows the city time where I live, and I don't want my home screen giving that information away. Next, back at the lock screen settings, I'll deselect Camera Shortcut. This will disable the camera from the lock screen. From the camera, anyone can access my entire photo library in the Android OS. It is important that I make sure the camera is behind the access controls. Finally, I'll select Additional Information and deselect Pedometer. I'm trying to make sure that information about me is not given away. How active I am is personal information, so I'll make sure it is not displayed in the lock screen. Awesome! Now my device's lock screen is not a red carpet invitation to my world. Mobile devices are built to be constantly connected. Whether the device connects through Wi-Fi or cellular service, it will be broadcasting the location data. Android offers a slick tool called Android Device Manager, which uses the location data of the phone to help users locate a lost device. In order to enable Android Device Manager on my Samsung device, I need to first download it from Google Play. I will accept the terms and conditions of Android Device Manager, and I will open the application from the Google Play Store. I will read through the information Google is giving me about Device Manager and accept those terms. I will log into my Google account, and there I am. In order to demonstrate the functioning of Device Manager, I'm going to launch Google Chrome and log into www.google.com/android/device manager. I'll log in, see where I'm at, and my Android device is listed. From here, I can send a ring command. I would do this in order to find the device should it be lost, but within earshot, like behind my desk or between the couch cushions. I can lock the device if I believe it is lost or stolen, or I can wipe the device if I don't have the device and I believe it has been compromised. Device manufacturers have more elaborate remote management options. If I want, I can enable Samsung service to control more of the phone. Check with your hardware vendor to find out more about the options of their devices. On the Android platform, I have the ability to define device administrators. Device administrators are able to make changes on my device. Those who can make changes on my device can install malware and Trojans, change security settings, and access Android's file system. Therefore, I want to be cautious who is giving administrator access to my device. In order to review my options, I will go to Apps, Settings, and Security. First, I will select Device Administrators. If I engage drive mode, my device will go to lock screen while I am driving. I don't want that, so I will leave it disabled. The other possible administrator is Android Device Manager. I want this administrator enabled because it will allow me to access my device from a browser using Google's Android Device Manager. So these settings look good. Next, I'll select Unknown Sources. If this option is enabled, applications that come from any source will be able to run on my device. This is incredibly insecure. As an open platform, anyone in the world can develop an application for free. Therefore, the Android application space needs to be secured. Unless my IT organization tells me to, I am not going to enable unknown sources. Select Cancel. Finally, let's enable Verify Apps. This will engage the Google verification list against applications that are known to cause harm. Any help I can get from the software manufacturer is welcome. I'll enable Verify Apps. Changes to a device require administrator access. A critical look at who is allowed to make changes can go a long way in securing my device. Security is not just about preventing malicious access to my data. It is also about building processes for data continuity. Let's take a look at how data security and continuity are set up through backing up my device. There are two ways to back up your Android device, either over the air to Google's servers or on your own computer. When I connect an Android device to my computer, it will show up as a storage unit. If the phone is unlocked, I can simply copy and paste all of the data of the Android to my local machine. This is not a secure or recommended solution, as it does not give you restore points. There are many third-party backup applications that will create full and restorable backup solutions when my phone is attached to my system. Google's cloud backup is called Google Sync. Initial backup syncs app data, calendar, browser, contacts, Drive, Gmail, Google Opinion Rewards, photos, playbooks, play movies and TV, play music, play newsstand, Google+, Google+ Photos, Keep, and People Details. To set it up, I'll open Apps and select Settings. In the Settings menu, I'll select Accounts and Google. Then I'll select my account. Next, I'll enable all of the items I want to sync. I would like to recover everything I can from backup. There are also deeper settings that Google will back up, such as Wi-Fi passwords, SMS messages, Google account settings, and persistent application data. To set up these, I'll go to Apps, Settings, Backup and Reset. I'll check Backup My Data, and I'll check Automatic Restore. After setting up a solid backup plan, restoration is quite simple. Depending on your device, it could offer the location to restore out of the box or through an app. I recommend connecting to Wi-Fi if you need to restore a device. The data coming through during restore can really impact your cellular plan. It is important to remember if you are restoring your device because it was operating poorly, then you may have restored the problem right back to your device. Backups of your device are key to device and experience continuity. However, they are not solutions for software or hardware performance issues. Backing up frequently makes it easy to get back to business if your phone is lost or broken. Back up early and often. On my Android device, I can encrypt accounts, settings, applications, and their data. Really any files stored on the device. By using encryption, I am making my password the only way to get at my data. If, for some reason, I lose my passcode, I will not be able to recover the data. This also guarantees that if my device is stolen, the data is unreadable without decryption. This protects my data at rest. Encryption does not protect me if my phone is compromised. Once enabled, I will need to unlock the screen to decrypt the device every time I turn it on. The encryption process can take an hour or more. I will need to plug my device in for the encryption process. If my phone dies during the process, I could lose all of my data. To begin the encryption process, I'll go to Apps, Settings, and select Security, select Encrypt Device, and read the warnings regarding power and the length of time it can take. Select the Encrypt Device option at the bottom of the screen. This process will chug along for a while, but once complete, my data is secured from many of the most common attacks. To get started with the Apple ecosystem, I need to set up an Apple ID. I can do this through a web browser, iTunes, or my device. I'm going to use the device to set up the Apple ID and a browser to set up two-step verification. I have an iPhone that I've just completed the initial setup, choosing my country, language, and connecting it to my local Wi-Fi. My device is now ready to go. To set up my Apple ID, I'll tap Settings, and then App and iTunes Stores. Select Create New Apple ID, the country, read through the terms of service, and select Agree. I'll enter my email. The Apple ID needs to be an email address. Now this is going to be my Apple ID, so I'm going to use the email address I'm already using and the password I've chosen for this course. I'll verify it. I'm going to choose questions for each one of these. You'll want to write this down. These questions will be challenges if for some reason in the future you need to recover your Apple ID password. I have the option for a rescue email. I'm going to go ahead and put my personal email address in there. I'll enter my date of birth. I will unsubscribe from recommendations and news. I can enter a payment method. I'm going to leave it on Visa. I'm going to enter my Visa card number. I'll enter the expiration date. I have the option to set up the account using an iTunes gift card, but I don't have that. I'm going to enter the information for my billing address for the card that I just registered. And finally, I'll enter my phone number. Select Next. It will finally want to verify my account on the address that I set up. I'll select Done, and I have my account running. I will now go into my Gmail account where my Apple ID verification is setting up. I'll click Verify, and it will take me to My Apple ID, where I will sign in with the email address and password I set up on the phone. Select Verify Address, and my Apple ID is verified. The next step to secure mobile device is to enable two-step verification. I'll take care of this on my computer. I'll go to https://appleid.apple.com/account/home. I'll select Manage your Apple ID, and I'll sign in. Select Password and Security. Answer the security questions that you've selected, and click Continue. Under two-step verification, select Get Started and follow the on-screen instructions. Select Continue, and continue again. Finally, get started. When I set up two-step verification, I registered a trusted device. A trusted device is a device you can control that can receive verification codes using either SMS or Find My iPhone. You're required to provide at least one SMS-capable phone number. Then, at any time I sign in to manage my Apple ID, iCloud, or make a purchase from a new device, I'll verify my identity by entering both my password and a verification code. Select Verify. Select Continue. Once you set up two-step verification, you'll have the option of printing out a recovery key Apple will give to you. This recovery key is necessary in the case that you do lose the ability to receive the SMS code. Storing this recovery key is critical. My recommendation is to print the key and put it in a secure location. Once you have the key printed, select Continue and enter the key you've just been given. Select Confirm. Check that you understand the conditions above, and finally enable two-step verification. Congratulations. Now select Done and review your new managed settings. When I initially set up my iPhone, I chose not to enable access security. No security is a bad idea. I'm going to secure my iPhone. On an Apple device, I can set access security using custom alphanumeric, custom numeric, 4-digit numeric, or Touch ID. The best security is an alphanumeric password. To set this up, I'll go to Settings, Touch ID, and Passcode. On devices without Touch ID, go to Settings and Passcode. I'll tap Turn Passcode on, and then under Passcode Options, I'll select Custom Alphanumeric Code and type my code of choice. I'll re-enter my passcode to confirm and activate it. Now I have a complex passcode protecting access to my device, but that sure is a lot of characters to enter every time I need to unlock my device. Enter Touch ID. To use Touch ID, my device must have a passcode already set. I just took care of that, so now I want to set up Touch ID. To set up Touch ID, I will tap Settings, Touch ID and Passcode. I'll enter my passcode, and I'll touch Add a Fingerprint. Follow the instructions, but also know, to touch your finger to the home button, you don't press it. Hold it there until you feel a quick vibration, or until you're asked to lift your finger. Continue to lift and rest your finger slowly, making small adjustments to the position of your finger each time. The next screen asks you to adjust your grip. Hold your device as you would normally when unlocking it, and touch the home button with the outer areas of your fingertip. Select Continue. With Touch ID set, I have the ability to use it to unlock my phone, enable Apple Pay, and make iTunes and App Store purchases. In order to enable iTunes Store purchases with Touch ID, I need to enter my iTunes account information. When Touch ID scans and recognizes an enrolled fingerprint, the device unlocks without asking for the device passcode. The passcode can always be used instead of Touch ID, and it's still required under the following circumstances. The device has just been turned on or restarted. The device has not been unlocked for more than 48 hours. The device has received a remote lock command after 5 unsuccessful attempts to match a fingerprint, and when setting up or enrolling new fingers with Touch ID. The combination of complex passcode and Touch ID gives me the best possible secure use of my device. Once my device is secure, the next step in setting up security is managing my data. Unlike the Android OS, encryption is built into Apple's iOS from the beginning. Encryption isn't even something a user has access to configure or disable. Because Apple owns both the software and hardware build process, they own the entire security ecosystem. Apple uses hardware and software elements in tandem to encrypt data. The software encryption is divided into the file system and the kernel. The hardware and firmware encryption is accomplished by a different set of tools like the Security Enclave. Here's a graphic representing each layer of Apple device encryption. From this, it becomes clear why iOS has earned a reputation for being a difficult platform to break if strong access procedures are in place. With everything encrypted, malicious parties will be unable to access your data without the passcode. Even if I lose a device, my data is secure. I need to make sure that if that happens, I'll be able to recover gracefully by backing up my data. Apple has made the backup and restore of an iOS device quite simple. With a solid backup strategy, my mobile life should be able to recover should my device be lost, stolen, broken, or otherwise unusable. Apple provides 2 options for backing up an iOS device: on a server through iCloud or on your own computer through iTunes. I'll set up iCloud backup first. With my device connected to Wi-Fi, I'll tap Settings, iCloud. I'll scroll down and select Backup. I'll select Backup now and give it time to finish. With iCloud Backup turned on, I can automatically back up my device daily. iCloud makes these daily automatic backups only if my device is connected to a power source and a Wi-Fi network, my device's screen is locked, and I have enough available space in iCloud for the backup. The second option is to back up through iTunes. On my computer, I can see my device. iCloud is currently selected as my backup option. I only have 5 gigs of storage space in my iCloud account, so backing up my computer might be a better option for me. I will select this computer. iTunes also gives me the option to encrypt my backup. This adds another layer of security and requires a password restore from the backup. Be careful, if you forget the password, you could be out of luck. Once the backup is complete, restoring from this backup is easy enough. If my iPhone is lost or damaged, I can sub in a new device, pop in the password, and be up and running in no time. One of the best actions I can take to make sure my device remains safe is to update the operating system soon after updates are released. No operating system is without its flaws, and iOS is no different. Every software update contains minor and major fixes. The vulnerabilities that have been discovered are fixed, tested, and the update is released to the public through the download from the Apple App Store. Although updates generally come with notes about what the update is fixing in the matter of vulnerabilities, Apple tends to not disclose the holes it is patching in order to not exacerbate the vulnerability. Note: it is possible for an update to affect the applications your device is running. Before updating, it can be helpful to read through the release notes and look for warnings. Before any update, it is always a good policy to check the status of my backups, just in case the update procedure disables my phone. I backed up my device through iTunes, so with my device attached to my computer and the device selected in the iTunes menu bar, I can see my backups under Summary. The list will include backups on this computer as well as backups in iCloud. With a good backup under my arm, I will make sure I am keeping my iOS device up to date by going to Settings, General, and select Software Update. My connected iOS device will now call out to Apple and check my iOS version against their latest release. If my device does not match the latest release, Apple will give me the opportunity to update my version of iOS. My iOS is up to date, so I'm all set. Updates require a certain amount of available space on my device. If the install option is grayed out, it is possible that I don't have enough space for the update. If I need to, I can free up space by going to General, Storage and iCloud Usage, Manage Storage. Here I can see how much storage I have to work with, and I can remove any applications and their data that might be taking up too much space on my device. Operating systems are complex, and if I want to avoid the vulnerabilities, I need to keep my device up to date. Even with a strong password, I still might be at risk on my mobile device. In order to offer convenience to users, Apple has built in access to some data and functionality on a device without requiring the password through the lock screen. This is the lock screen. By default, from a lock screen, I can take a photo, see calendar appointments, and notifications, among many other things. Depending on my security goals, this kind of functionality may be too risky to have available without my passcode. I can disable lock screen extensions in Settings. I will select Touch ID and Passcode. I will enter my passcode. I'll then scroll down, and under the heading Allow Access When Locked, I can deselect each option. The 4 options I disabled are Today, Notifications View, Reply with Message, and Wallet. Today allows me to see my calendar appointments for the day. The Notifications view provides access to the notifications coming to my phone. Reply with Messages can be the hairiest of these options. With this option enabled, I can reply back to a text message without having to unlock the phone. And final, Wallet. The wallet is protected by Touch ID, so even with lock screen access, the feature is behind a security wall. Even so, I prefer to disable this feature to fully lock down the phone. I also want to disable Control Center. The Control Center is a quick action menu accessed by swiping up from the bottom of the screen. Control Center gives you access to enable and disable the antennas of your phone, play music, and take photos, among many other things. Back in Settings, I will select Control Center and disable Access on Lock Screen. Now I have disabled all of the extensions for the lock screen, and the only function allowed is the camera. However, to disable the camera from the lock screen would require me to completely disable the camera through restrictions. Fortunately, you can only take photos from the lock screen, and you cannot search through the photo library or access to other functions or data. Even with the best encryption and passcode, the lock screen can bypass safeguards. It is important to actively decide the lock screen options that are right for you to protect your data. It is the nature of my mobile device to share everything it can with anyone who asks. Applications want to know where I am and what I'm up to. Should I let them? When I signed the terms, conditions, and privacy policies, I signed over the rights to all of the information I willingly share from my device. Therefore, it is critical that I know what I am sharing and with whom I share. This is accomplished from the privacy settings in iOS. Back in Settings, I'll scroll down and select Privacy. From here, I see what applications I have allowed to share data from my phone. The list of applications present are Apple applications that have the ability to share data with third-party applications. Inside each application, I will see a list of any third-party applications I've given permission to access data from the Apple application. The exception in this list is Location Services. Location Services is a bundle of options I can enable or disable. Location Services opens data from GPS and networks to share with applications regarding your location, enabling many key functions critical to security. Unfortunately, it can also be a security risk, notifying applications and people of information I do not want shared. I want Location Services enabled, but want to make sure certain options are disabled. I'll back out to Settings, Privacy, Location Services. I will select System Services. Here I am presented with a full set of location service options. In order to secure the services, I will disable location-based iAds and Popular Near Me. I will also enable the status bar icon in order to know when my location services are being used. I can also decide when an application is able to utilize location services. If an application is a risk, I will disable its access to location services. For personal use, none of my apps appear to be a threat. Another option I will disable is frequent locations. Frequent locations allows the iPhone's assistant features to keep track of where I go. The goal is to provide pertinent information to the user when they arrive at that destination. Unfortunately, this enables the phone to run a background process regarding my behavior. Regrettably, this feature creates a record of my behavior. If a malicious party gets access to the data on my phone, they also gain valuable information about the places I frequent. These location service settings ensure that I am in control of what others learn about my location. In the privacy settings, Apple has also given me the ability to manage what applications are sharing information with my social media accounts. I can review and revoke access to those accounts here. I also have the opportunity to manage what reports are being automatically sent through diagnostics and usage. I can choose to send diagnostic information to Apple and app developers. Because Apple uses this data to improve their products, I'm going to enable diagnostics to automatically send to Apple. I'm less trusting of app developers with my data, so I'll disable Share with App Developers. Finally, I'm going to select Advertising and enable Limit Ad Tracking. Adjusting these settings enables me to control my data as tightly as possible from my mobile device. When I set up a new device with my iCloud account, I am by default enabling the Apple service Find My Phone. Find My Phone utilizes location services to provide users with the ability to locate their devices and secure them in the event that the device becomes lost or stolen. Find My Phone is available by logging into iCloud. I can also access it from another device linked to the same iCloud account. Both avenues offer the same functionality. When I log into iCloud through the browser and select Find My Phone, a list of my iOS devices shows up and a small icon of them on the map at their current location. And there's my iPad. I must have left it in the hotel room. I want to make sure no one can use the iPad while I'm away, so I'll select it from the list. If the device is located close to me, but I can't find it, I can send a command for the device to make a sound for me to locate it. If I think my device has been stolen and I want to protect the data, I can send a command for the device to be erased. Fortunately, I recognize the location and just want to make sure it isn't accessed by someone else, so I will select Lost Mode and type in my phone number. Now I'll write a message, so if someone finds the device, they will have clear direction to return it, and I'll just add a default message. Once I have sent the Lost Mode command, my iPad will display my phone number and message on the lock screen. It will also lock the device if it isn't already locked, requiring a passcode before the device can be used. As another security precaution, Apple automatically sends my iCloud account emails regarding what is occurring in iCloud. Now that I've located and locked down my device, I'll be able to get it later in my hotel room. Find My iPhone is a fantastic example of what can be done to secure devices using iCloud and location services. Software is a complex system of functions and vulnerabilities. iOS has made it possible to control applications simply by turning them off. Turning an application off through restrictions hides the application from the user. On the phone, it will look like the application isn't even installed. I will access restrictions by going to Settings, General, and swiping down to Restrictions. Restrictions are off by default. I will select Enable Restrictions. I will also enter restrictions passcode. I only have the option to set a 4-digit PIN, but because this setting is secured behind the passcode, 4 digits will work. If I disabled restrictions sometime in the future, I will need to enter my passcode and verify by entering it again. Once enabled, I can determine if any of the applications are a security threat to me. I want to disable everything I don't use, which disables yet another potential access point for malicious activity. To start off, I don't have a car that can take advantage of CarPlay, so I'll disable it. If I scroll down, I also have the opportunity to control content. Content control allows for parental controls and has nothing to do with security. I also see some location service options, which I set earlier. At the very bottom of the page, there are 4 settings under the heading Allow Changes. Just as with content control, these settings are most useful to parents locking down a child's device. Since this is my personal device, I will leave these all set to default. I gain better control of my data by carefully considering how restrictions can control what applications are running and how they access system data. Mobile devices are marvels of modern engineering. Full computing power integrated with a stack of technologies. A mobile device is a breathtaking powerhouse of data gathering. The laptop and desktop computers of the past decade empowered work in progress at breakneck speed. The leap in production, communication, and understanding powered by these systems has been breathtaking, yet it was only the early dawn of what was to come. Consumer computers required human input. On my laptop, I work with spreadsheets, documents, and email. I design websites, record music, and manage my photo albums. I input one set of data at a time, manually. I was always aware of the data I was manipulating. My brain was able to keep track of what was occurring on the system. That changed with the introduction of the mobile device. Smartphone hardware is designed to gather multiple streams of data simultaneously and often continuously. This stream of data is then used by software developers to present options to me to enhance my life. The magic in the software comes from the data generated by the hardware. And right there is where security becomes an issue. I may not be aware or in control of the data produced by the hardware. The iPhone 6 and the Nexus 6 I configured are amazing technological tools, filled with sensors that produce these rich data streams. The iPhone 6 is equipped with front and rear-facing high-resolution cameras, a slew of sensors, and location-capable radios. It can communicate with other devices through cellular, Bluetooth, and wireless. The Samsung S5 has many of the same features, with the added security concern of a removable memory card. The primary camera on smartphones is located on the back of the device. This camera produces a higher resolution image than the front-facing camera. Because the camera is activated through software, a hacker or malicious party could theoretically take control of my camera, digitally entering any space I take the phone into. For security reasons, I need to remember that the cameras are always capable of witnessing the environment they are in. Apple lists 6 sensors in the iPhone: Touch ID, a barometer, 3-axis gyro, accelerometer, proximity, ambient light, and compass sensors. Samsung includes gesture and heart rate sensors. Sensors are all about my context. Sensors record my movement, the light around me, and the atmosphere around me. Smartphones make diverse and complex use of radio frequency, or RF bands. Those radios connect to Wi-Fi networks, global positioning systems, cellular networks, and near-field communications. All of this hardware generates mountains of data about me, while connecting me to the entire globe. With the right tools and knowledge, anyone with malicious intent can reach out through the internet and cause me harm. The device that gives me so much power can also be the catalyst to irreversible harm. The ability to create high-resolution images from my smartphone is admittedly a joy. I've been able to capture more of life than I ever would have carrying around my big digital camera. Cameras are all about light and context. A camera is always available in an operating system, and if someone can get access to my device, they can get access to my device's cameras, and through them, they can learn an incredible amount of information about me. For example, they can see what is around me to learn where I work, shop, eat, play, and live. If I work in a protected environment, they could learn how I access that space. They could even witness parts of my life I explicitly intend to keep private. This inappropriate use of cameras isn't just activities criminals engage in, but schools, businesses, and government agencies have all been caught exploiting the ability to access cameras without user detection. There are ways I can protect myself. On my personal phone, disabling the camera needs to be a temporary solution. To accomplish this, I will simply place a piece of electrical tape over the camera lens. Another option is to keep my phone in a sleeve or pouch that covers the camera. This only disables the camera when I'm not using it. If my phone were to become compromised, my cameras would not reveal anything. CamJar is a good example of a product designed to provide personal safety in the case of someone prying on your cameras. You can see their product here. Increasingly, however, businesses are taking advantage of the power of smartphones. Airlines, warehouses, and retail utilize smartphone workforces. Businesses put their operations and trade secrets at risk by introducing into their environment thousands of hackable cameras. If the cameras are not needed for the work they must accomplish, a security-minded business owner should consider a more permanent solution. In this situation, I would recommend disabling the camera from a mobile device management platform. Another solution is to equip the devices with a case that both protects the hardware investment from damage as well as covers the cameras. Then, of course, there is the issue of BYOD. When workers bring their personal devices into secure places, it can be difficult to contain the security risk. PicPatch has created a clever security option for companies. Their labels wrap around a phone to cover the camera. Once the user removes the wrap, it indicates it has been removed. Microphones present a very different but equally destructive risk. An accessed mic can allow the intruder to hear what is going on around the device. Many leaked recordings of private conversations over the past few years have been enabled by smartphones. While many of these attacks were accomplished by the malicious party recording with their own device, it still stands as an example of how catastrophic microphone access could be. In order to secure against microphone access, I would recommend exactly the same as with a camera. I would disable the microphone from a mobile device management platform. It is important to note that software solutions can be hacked, so hardware solutions are generally the best way to ensure security. Currently, there are no hardware solutions for microphone security that do not involve taking the device apart, which is not a good idea. Manufacturers are developing cases that cover the microphone of the device with sound dampening material, so hopefully a hardware solution is on the horizon. In the meantime, it's critical to take the tools available today to mitigate the camera and microphone risk. The heart of the data creating machine that is the smartphone is the array of sensors and radios packed into it. It is because of these sensors and radios that the device seems to come alive with helpful information and action just when you need it. NFC, or Near Field Communications, use Bluetooth technology to extend information with other Bluetooth-enabled objects around them. NFC is powering the new payment systems like Apple Pay, allowing me to simply wave my phone to buy my groceries. Thankfully, GPS on my phone can reach out to multiple satellites to triangulate my position on the Earth and then locate me on a map so that my phone can guide me to my location, where I will join a Wi-Fi network and facilitate a business meeting broadcast through my phone. Without this stack of technologies, I simply could not accomplish my work. So, what is there to secure, and how do I secure it? I must recognize the limits of my control. I can't control the protocols of communication, and I can't control the services that are offered to me. I must make a set of decisions that enables these technologies, but without threat to me. First, as convenient as it is, I refuse to join a publicly available Wi-Fi hotspot. A Wi-Fi hotspot that has a password is not a secure network, and even worse are open networks. The moment you join the web is the moment you are inviting trouble. Controlling how you access can eliminate most of the threats. Instead, I use my own encrypted Wi-Fi hotspot when I need to be away from the home or office. It costs me more, but the potential cost of an open connection could be devastating. I'll also disable Bluetooth and Wi-Fi when I'm not using them. An astounding number of hacks occur because of the always-on practice of most devices. This is a best practice that nearly no one follows. Taking a couple seconds to turn off connections differentiates me from 99% of mobile device users. Implementing these two practices, especially in tandem, can have fabulous results. Consider this. If I connect to a Wi-Fi network at a chain store, my device may automatically connect to that store's network in each store. If my Wi-Fi radio is on, I may be blissfully unaware that my device has made this connection while malicious parties prey on my data. Taking the time to securely manage my sensors and radios can take my mobile security to the next level.